All right, well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April 29th, 2026 council meeting. Would you please join me in standing for the silent prayer and pledge of the allegiance? Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. We had a meeting on April the 15th. We had some minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, let's do that first. Let's make sure we're here. If we do roll call, please.
Mr. Grumney?
Here.
Mr. Capel?
Here.
Mrs. Cooper? Here. Mr. Gose?
Here.
Mrs. Crawford?
Here.
And Mayor St. John is absent and Mr. Long is absent. 5 present, we have quorum.
Okay, thank you for that. And going back, we do have minutes from April the 15th meeting. Looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion with an edit. On ordinance 2026.07, Mr. St. John made the motion and I seconded it. It is reversed in the minutes.
Any other edits while we're...
Everything else looked fine.
Okay, and I'll second the minutes. So we have a motion by Ms. Cooper, second by myself. Discussion and roll call, please.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gose?
Abstain.
4 yeas, motion approved.
Okay, moving to the visitors section, we do have a scheduled visitor, Ms. Jillian Banton. I'm talking about Smoking Hot Wing and Music Fest 2026. Hi, how are you? Welcome.
Good. How are you? Thank you for
thank
having
you.
me.
Sure.
Do I need to state my address or anything?
I don't think so. I think, yeah.
Okay, so thank you for having me. I'm here today because we have been going through the process of bringing a new event, October 3rd, to Sunbury, Ohio. It's called the Smoking Hot Wing Fest. This would be its 4th year. Traditionally, it's been held out of Grove City. The facility in Grove City closed, so one of the board members, Brian Hogue, actually lives here in Sunbury, and so he's suggested to bring the new location this year to Sunbury, Ohio. I volunteered to help bring this event here as a board member of Big Walnut Friends Who Share and the executive director of this Big Walnut Civic. And so today I'm here to, I'll give you a little bit of background and then I'll make an ask. So about the Smoking Hot Wing Fest, it was generated to be an event to thank veterans. So all veterans enter for free. It's a combination of, it runs from 12 to 9 p.m. About 5,000 people attend. It is a ticketed event, so that's something different than what we've done before. The entry fee is $15 for anyone 13 and over. It's a cashless event. And again, we're looking to have it at Freedom Park. That way we're not having to block any or close down any squares or anything like we have to do for the Sunbury Sizzle. And then the beneficiaries of this event, again, with the first year, we're hoping to break even, but then moving forward with that, having the Fallen Hero Memorial be a beneficiary, so then that can be, that can be a fund that they can count on every year. And then also Big Walnut Friends Who Share would get the other split for that. We have, and I have to say thank you to Daryl and his team, the police and fire department. They have been extremely helpful walking us through this event, making sure we're doing it correctly. We have went through the park committee and the event committee, and they've been very, very helpful making sure that we have everything completed correctly. We do have the application in. We have met with, again, police and fire for safety and any of their concerns. You should have in front of you a revised park that I have to thank Alyssa and the team for creating and making it to scale for us. There's usually about 20 wing contestant entries. So you'll see that in the red boxes at the top. Those are scaled to size 10 by 10 tents, 10 feet apart. One thing that is nice about this is that most of these contestants are just smoking wings, so it's not deep frying, so there's, less liability of a fire. But throughout the day, there's 4 bands that are scheduled to play. Outside of wings, they do have a taco truck, ice cream truck, a lemonade truck, and then like a burger fry truck that individuals can have. There is, to scale, a VIP area and then a general public area. Sorry. Any questions? So my ask quickly is, because this is October, dusk sets around 7:30, so I'm asking council if you would approve letting us have the event till 9 o'clock for that extra hour and a half.
And this will be on our new business later, so we can discuss more later this evening. Thank you.
Okay.
You are welcome to stay, or we can reach out to you tomorrow if
Okay.
you don't feel like you need to
Okay.
stay for the whole meeting.
I'll get my kids to bed, so I'll go ahead and go.
Thank you.
Any
Sounds
questions?
delicious, but thank you.
Okay,
very
thank you.
much. Appreciate it. Okay. Okay, so I think that moves us to the visitor section again. To anyone who would like to speak to council, I believe we have a list, Daryl, of,
We do, so we'll operate the same way that we did the last time. We'll operate off the list in the order in which people have signed up. I did want to say prior to this, prior to the public comment, I did have several council members reach out to me earlier today regarding a website item from a company out of Florida. Karis is the name of the company. Looks like they're an industrial developer. They had listed the Sunbury site as a site with active hyperscaler planning going on. I reached out to them by phone and email earlier today to tell them that that was inaccurate and they needed to remove that from their website. I did also send them the moratorium. So it's my understanding they have removed it, so happy to hear that. But thank you to those who spotted it, and thank you to the council members for reaching out to me. So with that, I'll call out 2 names. Again, if you'll come to the nearest microphone. The first speaker is Sonny Smith. The next speaker will be Larry Toady.
Good evening. My name is Sonny, and I am a resident of Trenton Township. I'm against this data center, as I essentially believe everybody else is behind me. A lot has been said about the environmental impacts of these data centers over the last few months, and in my opinion, it seems to be falling on deaf ears. And to be honest, I'm not only against these data centers, but warehouses and even these ugly housing developments that keep popping up, but that's beside the point. I'd like to approach this from a more community-based aspect, and the betrayal that we feel as a community against our community leaders and elected officials, present or not. Because of your clandestine efforts to not involve the public in a decision like this, you have effectively stabbed your community in the back. You have stabbed your constituents in the back, you have stabbed your friends and your families in the back. And for what? Shame on you. I grew up here. I choose to continue to live here because to me this is paradise. And you want to turn it into an industrial jungle, filled with traffic, increased cost of living, and the continued distrust of the people right here. Many who want to continue to live in paradise. So here's a message to those elected officials and city leaders. We are not going to go away. We're going to get bigger, we're going to get louder, and we're not going to stop until we have our community back. And one last thing, don't get too comfortable. We're going to come for your jobs.
thank you.
Larry Toady, and then after that, Jamie Osborne.
Good evening. I've been looking at public records, and I believe you have a problem. The public records do not support the statements and some of the things that you were saying lately. For example, you began working with the New Albany Group in 2023, bi-weekly meetings. They also instructed you to remove the term MAGA developments. Seems kind of sneaky that you want to hide what you're creating. Also, Daryl, you invited these people to go to the New Albany International Business Center so that they could see what you want to bring here. But you told them, small groups, we can't have a quorum. Why would you want to avoid that? Because a quorum makes it a public meeting. I also have an email here from Amazon asking the mayor to not disclose Amazon to the school board. Guys, that's not responsible development. It's sneaky. It goes against what the mayor said at the State of the City. It goes against some of the other statements that you have made. I strongly suggest that you do two things. You cancel this meeting and you take 2 hours to rewrite the moratorium so that it's strong, so that this kind of nonsense doesn't happen, that we don't have sewer ordinances on the meeting tonight that may very well be to help the data center. We don't know that. And we stop annexing land like the Weaver land like happened last week. And last but not least, you gotta help us understand why these emails imply that you're sneaking around. I'd like to believe that you're not. You owe us an explanation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie Osborne, and then Danny Marsh.
So I am going to kind of back up what Sonny just said, and I went to school with him, and I'm a longtime resident, just like he is. I'd like to know how many of you grew up here and you still love this community for what it is, because that's what is at stake right now. What we are seeing are decisions that will permanently change the character of this community, and from where many of us sit, it feels like those decisions are being made without truly listening to the people who live here. Residents have made it, or have been clear. We want to preserve what remains of our small town rural feel. Instead, we've watched increasing high-density development, and now we're being asked to accept industrial expansion right on our farmland. So I have to ask, why? Why are we willing to trade farmland for an industrial park? Why are we prioritizing large-scale development over the people who already live here? At some point, it's fair to ask whether this is really about what's best for the community or about money. You were elected to represent us, but right now, many residents feel like their voices are not being heard. And let's be honest, this community is not asking for a temporary pause. We are asking you to put a stop to this. The impacts here are not unknown. Strain on infrastructure, environmental concerns, long-term effects of quality of life. These are real issues and they are foreseeable. Your visit to Beach Road as you plan this development should have given you a good idea of what you're bringing here, but you choose to continue down a path of destruction. Meeting after meeting, residents continue to come forward, raising concerns after concerns and instead of confidence, what's growing in frustration and major lack of trust. I have not heard one resident stand up here and say thank you for bringing multiple purpose data centers to Sunbury. Not one person thank you for tax incentives given to large corporations while families are struggling. Not one person celebrating what this means for our air, our water, and our future. People are worried about their homes, about their community, and about their children. So I'm asking you, please listen. Stop this development now. Put the people you represent first.
Thank you.
All right, Danny Marsh, and then the next name I can't read, Mike, 11318 Trenton Road. Not sure if it's Morris. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Danny Marsh. I agree with the other speakers here. Mine is more personal. I'm gonna try not to cry. My son has ALS, and I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it is a disease that eats away at the nerves. It is due to environment, genetics. His is not genetics. He's 25 years old. I don't need a data center in my neighborhood to put out more chemicals in our water, in our soil, in our air, to add to my son's disease that we are trying our hardest to keep him detoxed. We eat healthy, we eat organic, our chickens are fed organic, our farm is organic, and you guys want to build this huge data center that's going to destroy all of that. Our chickens will stop producing as many eggs. It will harm our livestock and give more chemicals to my son who is dying. He has 5 years, if that, to live. If we can keep him going for that 5 years without all these extra chemicals, we may have a cure. So I want you guys to take that home and think about that before you put a data center up in my neighborhood.
Thank you.
After Mike, Annette McMurray.
Good evening. My name is Mike Moran. We bought our home on Trenton Road in 1985. We raised our family here. I was also a volunteer firefighter for BST&G Fire District for 20 years, and I'll also put a lot of work into the Ohio Fallen Heroes Memorial early on. This was the perfect place to raise a family, and it has been in the past a very close-knit community. Over the years, there's been many changes. All the building was progress, and I said nothing because I understood people wanted the same thing that I had. However, I and many others are not happy with the plans for a massive data center in our community. Once these changes are made, there's no going back. As many have stated, a data center should not come here. It's not what we want, but I would like to address the industrial site as a whole. Looking at this from a transportation perspective, the primary concern is ingress and egress capacity for the proposed industrial acreage. The road network serving the area is not designed to support the scale of traffic associated with industrial large districts. Using standard planning tools, the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual provides general estimates for traffic associated with different land uses. For light industrial zoning, a common planning level estimate is roughly 20 to 40 vehicle trips per acre per day, depending on the mix of warehousing, distribution, or industrial employee uses. If we set aside the data center partials and focus only on the remaining 900 acres of industrial zone land, a reasonable midpoint estimate would be around 30 trips per acre. Even if we conservatively assume 30 trips per acre, the result is roughly 27,000 additional vehicle trips per day during business hours. And that figure is only for the industrial zoning. It does not include existing traffic currently using these roads, future traffic associated with Miller Farms development, introduced traffic from secondary commercial development that typically flows industrial zones, and construction traffic during the build-out period. When you look at the map and the surrounding road network, the issue becomes clear. The primary route serving the district ultimately funnel towards three constrained points: Sunbury Square, Galena Square, and Sunbury Road / Vans Valley intersection, and then State Route 37/605 intersection near Vans Valley Road. These are two-lane rural corridors and small-town intersections, not limited access highways or industrial park connectors. Without major roadway upgrades, intersection redesign, signalization improvements, and potentially new arterial connections, the current infrastructure simply does not appear adequate to absorb the projected traffic volumes, which eventually would be paid through our taxes. With the data center conversation currently on pause, this may be the best time for the community and local officials to step back and take a closer look at the transportation implications of the entire district, not just one project. Because once the land is zoned and the projects begin moving forward, the traffic impacts become much harder to manage. To close, our son now lives in our home he grew up in. He and his wife are raising a son of their own. I hope and pray this community is as much of a home to our grandson as it was to our son. But that won't happen if the powers that be continue down the path and approve the proposed industrial site and data center. You want to leave your mark on this community? Stop what's happening now, or you'll be the one known for destroying Sunbury and the surrounding areas. Thank you for your time.
After Ms. McMurray, Joe Fuller.
Good evening. I'm going to kind of go down the same path that Larry did. I'm going to be very direct this evening because the people of Sunbury deserve the truth, not carefully managed talking points. Since March of 2023, the city has been paying the Montrose Group $4,000 a month of taxpayer money for government relations and advocacy. That's tens of thousands of dollars quietly spent. And what has that bought? Influence, access, and based on what we know, a firm that helped this city pursue and shape the Amazon data center deal. Let that sink in. A private consulting firm paid with your tax dollars, helping drive one of the most controversial community-altering projects we've seen, while the public was largely kept in the dark. Now let's talk about that relationship. The principal of that firm, David Robinson, donated to Joe St. John's campaign. So here's the reality. A company is being paid by the city using taxpayer dollars while also financially supporting a sitting elected official. At minimum, that raises serious concerns about independence, influence, and judgment. And if everything is above board, then it should be easy to explain. Because right now, it doesn't pass the common sense test for the people watching this. And it gets worse. The contract didn't just appear yesterday. It's been in place since March of 2023. So while residents were showing up to meetings, asking questions, raising concerns about development, infrastructure, and the Amazon project, this firm was already involved, already advising, already influencing, without the public fully understanding who was shaping those decisions. And then we get to the most troubling part. Larry talked about this. Confidentiality. That's right. The agreement explicitly states that their work, the strategy, the communication, the deliverables is confidential. Let me be very crystal clear. You are using taxpayer dollars to pay for work that taxpayers may never be allowed to see. You work for us. That is not transparency. That is not accountability. That is not how public government is supposed to function. You don't get to make decisions that will impact this community for decades and then hide behind confidentiality agreements. Shame on all of you.
All right. Next up, Mr. Fuller, and then after that, Chloe Swain.
Good evening. My name's Joe Fuller, and I am a data center employee, but I am a contractor. So I know exactly what it takes to build these data centers. I see water usage to the tune of at least 600 gallons a minute per machine that happens in these data centers, and there are hundreds of machines on a single site. Again, you guys have heard me speak technicals on it multiple times, but realistically, you guys thought that Amazon was the only data center proposed here in Sunbury. You guys need to think again. I mean, you guys are going to see a broader pattern here. These developers are using shell LLCs to quietly buy land, push it through as rezoning, and only later to reveal it as large-scale data center projects. So we've seen it as the Amazon data center. It was actually the Sunbury Land Company prior to that. Now, I know we've been told to, dismiss Karis Critical, but you can't dismiss that, because when you look at their portfolio, they specialize in preparing land for larger scale industrial use, basically taking away generational farmland. So looking at that, everything we're seeing here, it's going to basically mirror what we see in New Albany at the Beach Road massive data center campuses. This is going to be a huge scale. What they're not telling you, it's going to be basically a Meta Prometheus supercluster. So, I mean, we're talking gigawatt level capacities. And then looking at planning documents, Sunbury even references and displays images of New Albany, basically of what they're going to mirror, but they're not going to tell you that. So we as a people need to sit here and question everybody that sits up here. We need to hold them all accountable, because everything that's happening, they are literally going to change the landscape of Sunbury forever. Once it changes, it's never going to come back. I mean, you guys say that, you're doing what's best for the community. You're doing things to increase jobs and that kind of thing. We've already talked those numbers. That doesn't work. But looking at it firsthand, these facilities, they're coming with huge demands on everything. So what we need to question here is whether the public's being informed 100% up front before it's too late, before they have right to say what they need to. So these Sunbury officials need to be held accountable, otherwise be removed or impeached, because a typical politician will create a mess and then leave it for their successors. And that's all I have for you tonight.
All right, after Ms. Swain, Jeremy Doty.
Hi, I'm Chloe Swain, a 7th grade student in the Big Walnut Middle School. I came here tonight to talk about how the data center is affecting us, not only as students, but as future citizens of Sunbury. While data centers may bring economic growth to our community, advanced data, cost savings, and tax benefits, data centers only last up to 10 to 15 years. This data center will not only destroy the land forever after it's considered unusable, it could damage even more of the population of our birds, but also our aquatic life, bats, and mammals. They even damage the local ecosystem. Removing the parts of the data center after it becomes unusable costs a lot of money to do. I personally live less than a mile away from the data center, and the middle school building is located less than a mile from where the data center is being built. It affects the water, and not only the water, but the sound. In order for students to actually learn, we need a somewhat non-distracting place to work, and the data center will just add to the struggle to learn. About 40% of students are bothered by background noises. Adding a data center adds unnecessary noise, and that noise may distract students from learning. Even as a young person, I could see that this was only for money benefits and not for the good of our people. My opinion on the matter is that we should say no to data centers. But I guess, who am I? All I am to you is a teenager that doesn't have a proper voice. The decision has already been made, and we as the citizens of Sunbury don't have much of a choice anymore. So tell me, do you really want your children to grow up in the sickening and polluted filled air more than it already is, with a chance of developing asthma, neurological developmental harm, and even cancer risks? The amount of exposure to these gases, such as carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides, sulfur dioxide, and carbon monoxide, will harm not only children but adults. Who in their right minds would want them to? Well, folks, they're right in front of our faces. Daryl Hennessy isn't the good person you think he is. He did the same thing in the last place he lived and ruined it. Daryl Hennessy lived in Charlestown, West Virginia, before moving to Ohio 4 years later. He pushed through a $60 million bond that the factory needed where the old mayor didn't even want it. He said it was only for financial decisions, not environmental. Data centers will contaminate our waters. Data centers add sound pollution, air pollution. This data center will not add any jobs. They aren't going to hire anyone in our community. Instead, they bring people from outside of our city to work there. We're most likely going to lose population due to the data center. No one would want to live here with the risk it takes to. Sunbury can't handle any data centers, so why are you building one? Is all you want money, or do you want your citizens to actually enjoy being here? No one wanted a data center. It won't do anything positive for our community. Weren't we taught as a kid to enjoy nature? If we add that data center, all the nature would be destroyed, left to rot. What would we have to enjoy then? AI images? And personally, no thank you. Residents should be allowed to know what was going on, but you all didn't give one care about us and signed it. I couldn't find any public record about the council members agreeing on it, but on July 5th, 2023, a council meeting took place with no citizen witness, and the council voted for Daryl to sign the agreement with only one reading with a suspension of the rules. Council approved for Daryl to enter into the NDA. Hennessy's contract ends May 8th of this year. Council has to vote to extend his contract, and as council members, you are supposed to speak for the people. So as a citizen of Sunbury, I say let Daryl go. And remember, council members, we voted for you to be there because we wanted you to help our city, not destroy it. Thank you.
All right, Jeremy Doty and then Alicia Doty.
Good evening. My name is Jeremy Doty. I'm here with my wife, Alicia, and our daughter, Ariella. We live at 12649 Vans Valley Road, which is located on the residential island surrounded by the proposed industrial district. You all should know exactly what I'm talking about. What I'm about to say should come as no surprise. You know this as well as I do. You cannot put an industrial park directly next to and surrounding residential properties and neighborhoods. If any of your families lived where my family lives on Vans Valley Road, I do not think this decision would be so hard, or we would even be here discussing this today. We're talking about hundreds of homes and thousands of residents who will all be within a mile of these data centers. Many more residents, even schools within a few mile radius. I can sit here and cite all the research in the world as to why, but with a few minutes of research, you can do this on your own. This is not the right place to put an industrial park. It should have never been considered, let alone approved. The developers and billion-dollar companies trying to build data centers are not here to be good neighbors. In fact, they are notorious for being the worst kind of neighbors. Again, please do your research. They are here to make themselves richer by exploiting us, destroying the land, using our natural resources, polluting our air and water, not their own, but most of all, to get the biggest tax break possible by pushing over small-town municipalities. They have no intention of making this community better, despite any empty promises they may be making. Any company that comes in and forces property owners and local officials to sign NDAs have no intention of being a positive influence in this community. We are not special to them. They are doing the same thing, making the same promises to rural communities all over the state and the country. They are hedging their bets by looking to build these hyperscale mega data centers wherever they can, as fast as they can, before any logical laws or restrictions can be placed on them. But honestly, I wouldn't expect billion-dollar corporations to care about this community. We mean nothing to them. The people I do expect to care about this community are right here in this auditorium and on this stage. It is our responsibility and your responsibility to do what is right for Sunbury, looking out for our families and our neighbors' best interests, even if that means turning down what may appear to be easy money. If any member of this council is here to make money, take campaign contributions, seeking favors or jobs, or to play nice with developers and corporations, the door is in the back. I suggest you use it, or we can help you find it. I have more to say, but my 3 minutes is about out, so Alicia's going to finish these thoughts for us. Thank you.
I'm Alicia Doty. That was Jeremy, my husband, and I am here to finish the thoughts that we have about this development. Right now, it's time to tell these developers no. Right now, we can turn down the industrial rezoning request, ban industrial zoning next to residential neighborhoods, and add tight zoning restrictions meant to keep data centers away from our neighborhoods. Like they've said, once they're here, it's too late. The recent moratorium on data center-related activities is welcome, but I am not convinced that the next 8 to 9 months are anything more than a waiting game to help quiet opposition and deflect the attention from this board through campaign season, only to continue to lay the groundwork for rapid rezoning and site plan approvals next year. The posting made on the Caris website that was removed today after citizen inquiries to the city lead most of us to believe that council fully intends to move forward with this proposed development. I hope that I'm wrong and this council's listening and not preparing to push through this industrial park despite the many, many valid reasons that have been presented to this board and overwhelming opposition by our residents to build data centers and industrial parks in our community. I've not met any individual who looks at the explosion of data center development on Beach Road in New Albany and Johnstown and says, I hope that happens to Sunbury. The development has really enhanced the appeal of the community. But to be clear, we're not looking for decisions to be made in 8 months or a year. We want the decision now. Because every day that goes by is another day that we're afraid to put money into our home and our property and our community. It's another day we spend worrying about our future and our family and our neighbors. We have spoken. This community has spoken. We show up. We're going to continue to show up to hold our officials, both elected and appointed, accountable for their actions and decisions regarding this matter. We're not asking for a moratorium. We're asking for this to end now. No data centers in our community, no industrial parks next to residential neighbors and homes, period. Thank you.
All right, next up, I think it's Emma, is it Spate? Emma Spate, and then Francesca Parker.
Good evening. My name is Emma Spate. I'm a resident of Berkshire Township. We moved to the area in 2014 to escape city living, for me to have my horses at home with me, for my husband to be able to hunt our woods and train his bird dogs. We love it here. We love sitting on our porch, watching a spring storm pass through. Most of all, we love knowing that our little piece of heaven is a healthy ecosystem filled with native trees, plants, wildlife, and all manner of birds and bugs. It's been disheartening watching the countryside slipping away, but I think we both knew the area would change as Central Ohio continues to experience record growth. We had hoped that the change would be considered more thoughtfully by those who represent us, especially since this is your home too. Based on the legislation passed at the last meeting and some of tonight's agenda items, it's clear that you are continuing to pave the way for one or more data centers, and the moratorium is a sham. I'm proud to say I work for a local government that does public service right. We actively invite residents to participate in visioning activities. We involve them in difficult conversations from the onset. We listen and we adjust. We reflect the input that we receive. We keep them informed as a project progresses, and we let them know how their voices have helped shape the end product. We also recognize that everyone's time is precious. We try to meet residents where they are and to minimize the need for them to keep coming back to meeting after meeting after meeting. You have proven that you can collaborate with neighboring communities to the benefit of everyone. The Joint Recreation District and Community Center effort is proof of that. So why not extend a genuine, good faith effort to bring together the residents of the communities that are going to be impacted by this? Please schedule topic-specific public meetings in the coming months that work with residents' schedules. Be proactive about gathering our contact information and keeping us informed. Take a step back, genuinely take a step back, and truly let us be part of the decision-making process. And do it with honesty, integrity, and transparency. I'll be very quick here. I wasn't going to share this, but previous lady has inspired me to do that. I've been through cancer. It wasn't easy. No one should have to go through it. And I'm more conscious about the environment and what I put in my body, and this will destroy some of that ability to protect myself. No one should go through cancer or life-threatening illnesses that can be prevented. And you're potentially doing this to not only me, but to yourselves and your children. Please take a step back. Please be honest with us, and please stop this madness.
After Francesca Parker, Catherine Parker.
My name is Francesca Parker, and I'm a 2024 graduate of Big Walnut High School. I'm here tonight because the people of Sunbury have been lied to through NDAs, Shell LLCs, illegal emergency declarations, and backdoor deals. On Tuesday night, I discovered that Amazon was not the only data center campus planned for Sunbury, despite what this council has led us to believe. In August 2024, at a Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, a Shell LLC SGB Fund 1 applied to rezone 300 acres to limited industrial. The pitched intent of the rezoning was to attract advanced manufacturing technology facilities that would generate employment and real estate tax revenue for the city. The commission asked hardly any questions, not about what kind of manufacturing, not about water, electricity, sewer, or road impacts. Mr. Gochenhauer stood up for the residents who'd be living next to this. Quote unquote, "It is so unneighborly how we are destroying their property values. It is concerning to me, and it should be to the rest of you too. I just don't know how we can consciously surround people with industrial." He fought, and the rest of you, including 2 members of this council who sat on this commission and the mayor, said almost nothing. Mayor St. John's only response was to ask about the residential setback. The setback, by the way, is 100 feet and a 5-foot mound. I'm 5'7". I can see over that. That is not a buffer. That is an insult to all of the residents who would live directly next to this residential area, which would later be revealed to be a data center campus. Those same 300 acres were listed on Caris Critical's website as a fully entitled, shovel-ready data center campus with multiple hyperscalers in planning. Not one, multiple. And David Dix, who pitched the rezoning to the commission, explicitly stated that he represented SGB Fund 1 and Caris Critical. Hennessy, you knew it was Caris. Caris is not just some random Florida company, as you implied earlier. Then, in October 2024, the council passed the rezoning as an ordinance on the 3rd reading as an emergency. No discussion, no debate, and no stated reason for the emergency within the ordinance, which is a direct violation of Ohio Revised Code 731.30. This city council illegally revoked our right to a referendum. To reiterate, in July 2023, this council handed Daryl Hennessy the authority to sign non-disclosure agreements for economic development. Every conversation since then about what is coming to this town has happened behind closed doors, behind NDAs, behind their backs and ours. You didn't need to ask what these advanced manufacturing technology facilities entailed because you already knew. And now the same Daryl Hennessy is leading the data center studies under the moratorium. The man legally bound to keep the deal a secret is the man you trust to study whether the deal is appropriate. This is not a moratorium, this is theater. And this city council will continue to play games with us for as long as they continue to hold their seats on this council. Caris has removed the data center site from their website today. City leaders claim that there are not other hyperscalers in planning. However, with how city leaders hide behind NDAs, I believe they are trying to backpedal after the discovery of a secret Caris shared too soon. This city council annexed, rezoned, and worked with developers through NDAs and backdoor deals while ignoring the people who put them here. You're supposed to work for us, and you're doing a lousy job of it. If I were any of you, I'd be quaking in my seat in fear of a recall.
Recall!
My name is, I'm too tall for this. My name is Catherine Parker. I am a Big Walnut graduate. I have not disclosed this in my prior speeches, but I have more education than many of the board members in this large-scale construction. I have a 4-year degree in construction management and 3 years of experience in the commercial industry. I know the ins and outs of these buildings, and it is post-apocalyptic. I have seen firsthand, but due to my previous employer's forced NDAs, I have remained silenced. So when I say these are bad news and that you have to do your research, trust me, I know more than you will ever in your research. Connection of data centers, they relay information. Once one comes, they need multiple phases to connect all their information, because if one goes down, they need another to be the exact copy of the other. Because of that, data is king, and they cannot spare losing one bit. Again, once one goes down, the other fires up to hold all information. They have so much steel to support the gear, pipes, and computers that they need 85-foot pylons straight into the ground to hold the steel, which I have seen firsthand. This is irresponsible growth. There's not enough people. There are aggressive deadlines over safety, and I want everybody to go home tonight and read about the OSHA reports and accidents in New Albany. Working here, I've seen firsthand we don't have enough competent labor from the field to the office, and I myself am running extremely thin in this industry. I've seen multiple people be mauled by failing safety standards, from missing fingers to permanently disabled, either because they cannot read or understand English, or they are so new to the industry that their leadership and foremans don't have enough time to train them, and there are not nearly enough competent people to keep up with this scale of projects. This includes an incident 6 or 7 years ago when an 18-year-old young man was murdered by a rock truck. He was lost on site looking for leadership and was only identifiable by his teeth records at 18 years old. These companies have one bottom line, and it is money. How fast they can rent out these spaces and start working with data brokers. I care for my local brothers and sisters in construction, and I can't personally protect every single apprentice. I want you all to also realize there are many Native American grounds all over Central Ohio, and many are covered in New Albany, and there's not been any notice to tribal relations about protecting these properties. Bat and bird species been ran over and unprotected, and I personally have been told to stop looking everywhere. on my job site and to stop speaking so loudly so they would have to stop construction and keep on schedule, even though we have laws in place to protect them. Illegal truck drivers and 24-hour shifts that these data centers run on. I hope you guys realize they run on 12-hour shifts, every crew, 24 hours a day with constant light and noise pollution. Peak labor for these builds is over 2,000 workers at height of construction, 90% men, near your schools, your families, and your community, mostly travelers. And what I can tell you as a woman in construction is that I fear for everybody's safety. Multiple sites when visiting had extremely trashed waterways, about 3 inches of cigarette butts everywhere, reckless drivers, potholes that could blow off your tires easily, and roadkill everywhere. I want you to remember the Galena Veterinary Animal Hospital veterinarian who was murdered by a reckless, fraudulent driver with a 1-year-old son. And I personally have been involved in an accident in New Albany by a reckless driver who gave me a severe traumatic brain injury and ruined my life for years. I want you to remember that when your kids are driving around here, new. Lastly, standing for agriculture and the bees as a Lithopolis honey queen, a 2025 study suggests AI-related data center growth can contribute to the loss of 3.5 to 14.1 million bees annually due to heat stress and environmental changes, AKA what feeds your family. The constant hum from the servers and cooling systems, which I've experienced firsthand, make me nauseous and make me dizzy. I wonder what it's going to be like for everybody else living here. And between me and my sister, we will go to the ends of the earth to uncover every rock of collusion and sneaky behavior.
All right, so that's the list of those who have signed up. Are there any other speakers? You just identify your name.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Hetzler, and I'm a proud resident of Delaware County. I also work in Delaware County at a store called Equus Now. And we have been doing petitions against these data centers. And I will tell you, every single person, I don't even need to do the script that they give us. Every single person I say, are you for data centers or against it? We're against it. Everybody has signed it. And I tell you right now, I speak to hundreds of people every single day. What does that tell you? What does that tell all of you? We don't want it. We don't need it. I'm going to play something for you. You know what this is? If I can play it. You guys hear that? You know what that is? Can you tell me what it is? That's the noise of a data center at midnight on a Friday night. It's 24 hours a day that this noise goes on. What does that do? That causes headaches. That causes your newborns not to be able to sleep. That causes your kids not to be able to sleep. Causes you not to be able to sleep. Do you want to listen to this? Maybe you don't, because you think it's not going to be by your house, but it's going to be all by these other people's houses. That's disgusting. I had a whole spiel here I was going to say, but I do want to say, because after listening to all these people tonight, these people are spot on. There's nothing more than I can say that they haven't said. They've said it. They brought you here. They voted you in here to stick up for them, to stick up for their rights, to work for them. These are your constituents. So what I want to ask you, when you go home tonight, do you want to be remembered for taking care of your constituents? Or do you want to be possibly remembered by Amazon or somebody that supposedly put money in your pockets? They're not going to remember you. They'll never remember you. But these people will remember you. They'll remember you for doing the right thing, which is doing away with this. And I'm going to say this right now. Who's against data centers? All right, let's hear it. No more data centers, no more data centers, no more data centers, no more data centers. All right. All right. Do you get it? We don't want it. We do not want it. No, not at all.
I think we had two others. Yes.
Hey, you people listening to this? No, we're not. They're looking down.
Hello, my name is Allison Kelly. I live in Harlem Township. My parents moved here in 2000, and we lived in Trenton Township. I'm going to be short and sweet. Nobody wants this. This is insane. You've heard from all of us. No one wants this. Never once have I heard anyone say that they want this unless it's somebody getting paid off. Please take this to heart. Do not pass any more of this bullshit. Thank you.
My name is Patty Shipley, and I run a native plant nursery from my property on 605. Tonight I want to talk about trust. This week has been an incredibly discouraging week for many residents. I'm sure council has seen all the posts, all the comments, the documents, the research that's being shared online as this community begins to understand exactly what has been unfolding behind the scenes. Right now, we're realizing that we're on the path to where New Albany is now, or maybe even worse, especially with the realization that there's more than one data center involved. We kind of suspected it. It feels like the moratorium is just for optics to get us through the election, and we want there to be an actual meaningful pause. We actually want to see steps that show us that you guys are listening and you're reconsidering your positions. And just so we're on the same page, the Sunbury Charter, the new Sunbury Charter, basically shifted decision-making to an official who is not elected. None of us here had the opportunity to vote for him, and we wouldn't have. So that has happened. We also have basically Ohio Revised Code that went into effect in March of this year that has created even greater secrecy around the earlier stages of deals that are just like this. The residents are starting to see a repeatable pattern unfolding. Basically, shell corporations come in and buy the land and ask for rezoning. NDAs are signed. Emergency language is put around them that limits our referendum opportunities. And deals advance quietly until they become difficult for the public to meaningfully challenge. We're also hearing that, I actually this week spent several hours looking at the campaign finances of Mayor St. John. And to be clear, I'm not a political insider. I'm no expert. I'm just a person, a resident in a small rural town trying to understand what is happening. So what I can tell from hours of research is that more than 60% of the campaign contributions are from builders, developers, or individuals closely connected to those industries. Learning that the officials that we elected to make decisions for our community and for our families don't actually have our best interests at heart has created a crisis of confidence. We are now looking at all of our options. And a couple meetings ago, I said to you, we need to know whether we can trust you or whether we have to fight you. I think we found our answer.
Good evening. My name is Alexa Provost. I live at 14711 East Air Route 37. Over the past 3 months, I've watched my neighbors continue to beg for transparency and confirmation that their voices are being heard. The mayor continues to say, I'm hearing you. I'm listening to what you're saying, but you're not showing us. At last council meeting, I listened to countless concerned residents regarding the data center development. And there were also people who came to specifically ask that you do not approve the reannexation of the 95+ acres of the Weaver property. Though you would all likely argue that the Weaver annexation has nothing to do with the data center development, those are not the optics. You have all made it very clear that during public comment and visitors portion of these meetings, you're unable to respond, ask, or answer questions. But what I've also learned attending these meetings is that when there's a vote to be had, it allows for open discussion within the council. During the Weaver annexation vote, not a single person sitting on the stage offered a single ounce of discussion. There was no conversation around the reason for the annexation or acknowledgement of the previously voiced concerns. What I did notice, though, and kind of echoing some of the other comments, that a sign in the owner of the Weaver Construction Company went up for Joe St. John the next day. As Joe St. John said at his State of the City address, I reserve the right to learn new information. So I'm here to inform you as a council and mayor that you are letting us down. Your actions are not meeting your words, and though the moratorium may or may not have lowered the blood pressure of the citizens around us as he had hoped it would, it's not ensured our confidence in our mayor, council, and certainly not as a potential county commissioner. I'll ask the same question that I asked previous months and weeks, is where are the proponents? I haven't seen one. I haven't heard from one. If there's something that's so impactful to the community, I would hope to hear from somebody. So please, we're here to listen. If you can find a proponent, please have them come.
Thanks.
I think we've.
Hi, my name is Allison Hankus. I live on Trenton Road, and I'm a 4th of 5th generations Sunbury resident. My niece lives in Sunbury, attending elementary school right now. We have residential and commercial property off of 37, and actually if you drive towards Johnstown, you'll see my beehives there. So I'm here just to, I guess, stress that I don't agree with these actions, and in general don't agree with the development and management that I've seen. I hope that folks are listening to residents. I'm also here as the Vice Commodore of Alum Creek Sailing Association. We had our first race tonight. I hope it got kicked off in spite of the storm out there, but as a representative of folks here that enjoy the waters, and whether that's racing, recreation, whatever, these are special places. I also have a master's in informatics. I worked with MITRE for years, with Apple, Google, many federal agencies, actually other countries even. And my specialty was in predictive analytics and artificial intelligence at times. And I strongly disagree with putting a data center here. You know, that's my professional background, and I don't think this is the right place for that. And I guess I'll just use the last little bit of time that I have to share a story. So if you drive down 37 towards Johnstown and see the main hives that are right there, we have hives kind of all over the place. But those hives, those actually came from some grandparents about 45 minutes away. They needed to be relocated last year because the neighboring property, I think about 400 acres, was purchased for a data center. Unfortunately, they had to sell their property and leave. That was their dream property. They were being, dislocated out of their dream. That's where they were going to retire. They had to sell everything. Their two grandparents going to live with their daughter several states away out of an RV. They know they will never be able to buy the property like that anywhere else. They had no prospects. They just were trying to be hopeful that they would get to spend time with their grandkids, but they lost everything. And all they had was an RV. And that's it. And that's kind of what you're signing your residents up for right now, the people that voted for you. Like, that's their future. And that literally is where I just bought those bees. Those bees on 37 are there now because of a data center and because they couldn't stay there. And so this is their new home. And I'm trying to protect their new home the best I can. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Stake. I didn't have anything prepared, but everyone has inspired me to get up and talk. I am a long-time Delaware County resident, 25 plus years, and almost 30 years as a business owner in Delaware County. My business, as forever has never gotten involved in anything political. I don't believe businesses should. I think that everyone is entitled to in their own opinions, and we cater to everyone equally. However, with this particular situation, I have never, ever seen a cause where everyone is against it. Everyone. We talk to every person in our Delaware County business about this data center, and every single one is against it. Who's for it? I mean, I don't see the benefit of anyone for this unless there's money being lined in someone's pocket, because everyone here is against it. Everyone I talk to is against it. Everyone we come across on a daily basis is against it. No one is for this. Just on a side note, I'm an avid horseback rider. I go to Rocky Fork Metro Park all the time to ride. I was there 2 weeks ago, okay? And I heard this noise the whole time I'm riding in Rocky Fork Metro. Never heard of it. Last year I didn't hear it once. First time I was there this year. And I brought my horse back, to the barn, and it was deafening. My teeth hurt. Everything hurt. My head hurt. My teeth hurt. I drove around, and it was that AEP data center, which is a mile from Rocky Fork Metro, which is not big. It's a small data center, and it's loud. You can drive by it in a car and not notice it. But when you're out walking around a mile from that data center, that's all I heard the entire time I was out there. So noise pollution, it's the real deal. It's going to happen. Thank you.
Nope. Other speakers? Yeah.
Jeez. All right. My name's Aristotle Huttress, live in Sunbury since 2011. I wasn't going to speak tonight either, but been taking notes from everybody out here. A lot of good speakers. I'll just kind of ask you guys. I know I won't get an answer. We never do. Are you guys tired of this yet? Are you tired of it? Are you tired of us standing up telling you information that you could Google? I mean, I got this guy on a computer here. I'm hoping he's Googling something. But we keep coming here with information, and you are just taking notes down, just taking notes. And then from the notes that you may all take down, we never get any feedback. Never get any feedback. So I keep hearing people talk about NDAs. That's it. We can only assume that you've all signed one. You've all signed one, and we're not going to hear anything about it. Mr. Hennessy, it is hot in here for you. Oof, it is not good. If you didn't sign an NDA, if you didn't, I have some suggestions. As a community member, I'd like to call to action from the mayor and from council president, because council president told me I have to understand that everything the mayor does is being microanalyzed. I haven't needed a microscope yet. All I've needed to do is open my eyes. So, my call to action is this. I would like for a community coalition to be formed. I'd like members from zoning to be on that board. I'd like members from council to be on that board. And I would like community members to be on that board. Application process, I don't care how they're chosen. Then there is some reassurance that we are represented, because right now, we do not feel that way. So then when you do drink from that fire hose, as the mayor said, we know that our members out here are helping to siphon through that information. The other thing I'd like bi-weekly social media posts from the mayor himself on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever it is, to let us know what you all are doing and what we need to do to continue to combat this. He told me he wasn't about Facebook, couldn't get on it, doesn't really do it. County Commissioner Joe St. John says different. He posts something every 3 days. It's on you guys. It's on you because we're still here. I watch them deny people at zoning hearings, new businesses, family-owned businesses come into play. I'll finish quickly. I watch them come in, deny people that are building a new business in Sunbury, and him hold up the code for zoning and say, I just can't see where it fits. I just can't see where it fits. We're the neighbors telling you that the data center doesn't fit. It doesn't fit.
Any other speakers? Ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Rena Carver, and I live in Sunbury. I want to speak tonight about the scope and intent of the data center moratorium and what appears to be larger long-term development plan that residents have not been asked to evaluate or approve. Over the past several weeks, it has become clear that the issue before us is not a single data center, but the possible creation of a multi-site data center complex or district. This conclusion is based on annexations, zoning classifications, and infrastructure planning that extend beyond one parcel or one applicant. That matters because Sunbury is being asked implicitly, not explicitly, to decide the future character of the city without clear limits. The moratorium as currently written pauses certain vertical construction, but allows data center related infrastructure to continue. That means power, water, wastewater, and road capacity can still be built out during the pause. Once that infrastructure is in place, the policy decision is effectively made because future councils will be told the city is already financially and logistically committed. A pause that allows irreversible commitments is not a true pause. So tonight, I'm asking for clarity and for governance discipline. Specifically, how many data centers is Sunbury planning for, one or multiple? If multiple, what is the maximum number? What are the total caps the city is willing to commit to in megawatts, water usage, acreage, and traffic impact at full build-out? Will the moratorium be amended so that it applies not only to buildings but to data center enabling infrastructure until studies are completed and publicly reviewed? And finally, will residents have a formal opportunity to weigh in through a vote or binding resolution before Sunbury commits itself to a permanent industrial district? These are not anti-development questions. They are basic land use governance questions. Residents are not asking council to stop economic development. We are asking council not to decide the future of the city by default through infrastructure momentum and expired pauses. Thank you.
Amber Swain, 55 Walnut Street. You all are very familiar with me. I live about a mile from the proposed data center site, and I'm here to say this very clearly. You should not be moving forward with this project, and you should be ashamed of how you've handled it. You chose to enter into a non-disclosure agreement that shuts the public out of decisions that directly affect our homes, our safety, the environment, and our futures. That is not transparency, which is a part of the Sunbury's core values, by the way. That's not representation. That is you working around the people that directly chose and elected you. And let's be honest about what all of this looks like. It does not look like a council that is thinking independently. It looks like a council that is following the directions of one individual, and that is Mr. Hennessy. And I know exactly what that looks like because that is why I'm not sitting in that clerk seat today. One person should not have the level of influence over an entire elected body. It is unacceptable and it's a failure of leadership. You are elected to question, to challenge, to protect your residents and not to fall in line. Now I want to talk about something else, and I'm sorry, I have another issue. Because the pattern doesn't stop here. For nearly 3 years, I have raised the concern about traffic and safety on Walnut Street. For nearly 3 years, that concern was ignored. Just recently, I spent over 6 hours outside. 6. Not a single cop car drove by my house. Now, you may say that's not an issue, but what I did see 2 semi-trucks, 3 dirt bikes, and a handful of speeders that were going way faster than 25 miles per hour. Now, I gave it grace. When the road wasn't open, I gave it grace. The road is open now. There is no reason why our police officers can't make a whip around there and check our neighborhood. And now, after a recent break-in in my neighbor's house by someone known to law enforcement, the lack of presence isn't just frustrating, it's negligent. You are failing to address the real everyday safety concerns of the people who live here while pushing forward massive development behind closed doors. That's backwards. You answer to us, not the developers. Not administration, us. And right now, you are not listening. You need to do better.
All right, any other speakers?
Hello, good evening. I'm sorry for my little accent going on here, so I hope everyone can understand me. I'm Katharina Sontag. I live on 605 in Galena, and we moved there probably 4 or 5 years ago. I have seen really the countryside we were wishing for. We lived in Powell. We had a cute little house. We worked so hard. We came 2008 into the States with nothing. So we worked. We got our first little house. We were so proud of it. And then I know it doesn't sound similar or the same issue, but it kind of is. We had a neighbor. He put his hot tub on the ground, and it started humming and vibrating. We're talking about a little hot tub, okay? And I was trying to talk with them as neighbor and friends. I'm like, can we help you guys put like anything on there on the ground to stop that vibrating or the humming or whatever? Fast forward, our friendship broke. We were not able because they felt they had the right to make decisions for themselves. It was the better good for them instead of the neighbors. Instead of like really listening what other people would have endured with, we were forced to, at the end, like sell our house. We put so much love in there, and we loved it. It was our home, it was our neighborhood, everything. So it made me very emotional when I read through the data centers what impact that one has. It's not only humming, it's not only a vibration. We're talking about cellular death. I mean, if you really look into the studies, it should scare you. It should scare you the same way as it does us. It's in such a bigger scale. And we didn't get any, we couldn't, at the moment we were lucky that we could maybe get into another, land and another house. But what if our value falls from the houses and we have nothing anymore? What if the value falls from these properties and nobody has a choice anymore? Are you guys helping us with these $200 million you get from Amazon for you guys' well-being in Sunbury? Are you helping every single neighbor who's losing value in their house and they have to leave because they cannot sleep anymore? They can't raise their kids. They're worried about where they wake up the next morning and if they have that consistent stress in their mind and they cannot control it. It's out of their control. It's in your guys' control. You right now have all the control to help us, to hear us. So thank you very much for listening to me, and sorry for the little accent. Thank you.
All right, any other speakers?
My name is Barry Bennett. I want to take a little different approach to this. All of the comments about the data center I think are excellent, either positive or negative. I don't want to talk about the data center, but for the last several meetings, I have been sitting here listening to people claim that there are things going on behind everybody's back, that there are things being done in secret without anybody's knowledge. I've lived in Sunbury for 25 years. I have attended, I would say, 80% of all the council meetings and maybe 15% of the zoning meetings. And everything is public. It's available to all of you if you ask. I don't remember seeing anybody in this room at any of those meetings. So while I do agree with most of the data center objections, I do not agree that things have been going on in secret, and that's all I'm going to say for now.
All All right, any other speakers?
Hi, my name's Steve Roof. My family's been here since 1850. So I'm pretty sure we know more about Sunbury than any. I live in Centerburg. I convinced my daughter to move here, Christine Gilman. You guys hear from her all the time. What I'm here to talk about isn't the data center. It's how this works. I worked for 2 developers for 20 years. We had front men that went in and sold all the crap to the city and got everybody smoothed over. That man, we never had anybody buried that deep in somebody's city. That's just inexcusable to let that go. You guys, and we had money. We did it in Sunbury Heights. I was a project manager. I know how that got done. It was cash in this city. Not proud of it. We did it at Mount Vernon. I know how this works. You all need to pay real attention to their money. That's where this is working. And that man right there is the biggest problem you have. He needs to go. Go now. I don't know how you guys do it. That man does not belong here. But trust me, I did this for 20 years. This is not a straight game. Nope. You're being lied to 7 days a week. Absolutely. That's all I have to say.
Any other speakers? All right, thank you.
All right, thanks. Thank you all. Thank you, Daryl. I think that moves us on to committee reports. So we will go down the line. And Mr. Ghost, anything from you?
I don't have any reports.
Okay. Ms. Crawford? No. Ms. Cooper?
Yes, we had a Parks and Rec meeting earlier this evening, and we talked about J.R. Smith, and we have an update that so we should be substantially complete by August 26th is the hope, so that's pretty exciting. And then we also heard from Ms. Doucette Banton about the Wings festivals, and we can talk about that later in the new business.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Capel?
Nothing tonight.
Okay. That wraps up committee reports, and then Mr. Hennessy will go with you at the city manager's report.
All right, thank you. So there are a few new items on the agenda that we'll have the first reading on this evening, but we will take those up in more detail at the Services Committee meeting next week. So I won't spend much time on those except to say some upcoming items that you should be aware of. The signal at Cherry Street and State Route 3 is scheduled for repair on Monday, May 4th. So there will be an officer there to help manage traffic. The plan is to do this after the school rush and to conclude it before the school rush in the afternoon. Probably will take 3 to 5 hours. The school has been alerted, ODOT has been alerted, so just a heads up to this group. The ODOT Cooperative Road Salt Purchase Agreement, that is on the agenda this evening. We are asking if there could be action on that item this evening, as the resolution is needed in order to be a part of the Cooperative Purchase Agreement. The resolution is needed by the end of the month. Flow monitoring, we do have that as a third reading on the agenda this evening. As a reminder, this is an item to basically test a few key areas in our sanitary sewer system. We're trying to understand how much infiltration is occurring in those, and the meters will help us do that. So, and then the final thing I'll talk a little bit about is the Light Ohio Blue campaign. So there will be a caravan that works its way through the city of Sunbury next Wednesday night at the same time as the council meeting. We are proposing that the council meeting be there so that the council members can observe the caravan. Just for your information, the caravan is basically made up, I think, over 100 vehicles. It represents the survivors of families who have lost a law enforcement officer, a loved one. So really think that would be a nice event. We are working on perhaps getting some kind of flags or blue recognition or something for anybody who might be along the caravan route as it works its way through Sunbury. So the Light Ohio Blue campaign begins next Wednesday, May 6th, runs through May 16th. That's in conjunction with National Police Week and Peace Officers Memorial Day. So that's the reason why it's happening. So that's it, unless you have questions for me.
Any questions for Mr. Hennessy on those items? Okay.
All right.
I think that moves us on to resolutions then, and I'm going to need my glasses for this. We have third readings, resolution number 2026.08, a resolution establishing a capital projects fund for the future construction of roadway improvements near the Kittner Crossing Commercial Development Site. We're looking for approval of this.
Yep, if we're ready.
Okay. So
Can I ask real quick, with the third readings on the resolutions, and I'll extend my question to the third readings on the ordinances too. You mentioned a couple that are time sensitive, Daryl. Are any of the other ones that you didn't mention time sensitive at this point? We're in a third meeting with a meeting coming up next week, correct?
That's right.
So I guess what I'm asking, because there was a lot of concern from the public about some of this legislation. Now, I know that this is not targeted towards data center development, but I think giving a little bit of extra time for people to reach out to us and answer questions wouldn't be a bad idea. There again, if it's time sensitive, and I know the Burgess and Nyepel situation is, I think we need to act on it, but I think that would be a good call with our third readings.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Burgess Nyepel is the only one that's maybe a little bit time sensitive. We want to try to match that up.
And the ODOT.
And the ODOT item, exactly.
Sorry, John.
that's okay. No problem. Thank you.
So then, do we need a resolution to or do we need a motion to table, or can we just have the reading and take no action? Dave?
So Dave, I think if we just did the third reading, do we need an action to table it?
If you're not going to vote on it, once you've had your 3 readings, you should be voting on it.
Okay, so we'll have to make a motion. I'll make a motion on resolution, or to table resolution 2026.08.
Okay.
Second.
So we have a motion by Mr. Capel, second by Mr. Gose. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Gose?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
No.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
4 yeas, motion approved.
Okay, resolution number 2026.10, a resolution approving temporary flow monitoring and sewer capacity evaluation services with Burgess and Nyepel. Looking for a motion. He said this is somewhat time sensitive.
Yeah, this one
it's a
again,
third reading, so.
Right, and we're trying to catch the spring rains. That'll help with the readings.
I'll make a motion on resolution 2026.10.
I'll second. Discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gose?
Yes.
5 yeas, motion approved.
Okay, we, last third reading for the resolutions, a resolution approving Geographic Information Systems, GIS, Administration Support Services with Mapped Out. So Daryl, do you want maybe just real quick, maybe a minute summary on what this is doing for us?
Yeah, actually, let me, if I could invite Carla Odebrowski up. Carla knows this a little better than I do.
Thank you, Council. So this contract is to support our GIS services. So essentially trying to map our assets. We're talking about sanitary, underground pipes, our water system, storm sewer system, just so that we can have data that we can look at and base decisions on.
So we're trying to build out our GIS system. I mean, for the most part, we've been relying on other organizations to have this system in place. Just on a high level, a GIS system has a series of layers attached to it. So it gives you information about the public assets, but it also can give you information, or it can be a source for recording information about maintenance on those assets as well. I know we are doing something pretty active with respect to our cemetery as well.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just trying to take the data that we have in paper form and turn it into a more usable digital format. So, but having said that, I mean, this is an item that we could hold. talk a little bit more about at the Services Committee meeting for next week.
And I'll go ahead and make a motion to table Resolution 2026.11.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Capel, second by Mr. Ghost. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Ghost?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
No.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
4 yeas, motion approved.
Okay, second readings, resolution number 2026.13, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation to participate in the cooperative purchase of road salt through the ODOT winter salt purchase contract. I understand, again, we're trying to get something in by the end of the month to be a part of this. So I think we're looking for
A suspension of the rules.
Yeah. In order to meet the deadline to be part of this agreement, correct?
Yeah, and it may be just to help understand the urgency of the matter. By being a part of the cooperative purchasing agreement, it basically costs us about half the cost to purchase salt on our own. So there's a significant cost savings associated with being in the the cooperative agreement.
All right, I'll make a motion to suspend the rules for the resolution.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Ghost?
Yes.
5 yeas, motion approved.
Okay, making a motion on resolution number 2026.13.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion? And roll call, please.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Ghost?
Yes.
5 yeas, motion approved.
Okay, moving on to first readings, resolution number 2026.14, a resolution approving a contract modification for contract inspection and administration services with Accenture relating to the wastewater treatment plant expansion. That's just a reading only, correct? Resolution number 2026.15, a resolution approving Carpenter Marty Transportation for shared use path design, traffic impact study, and other traffic-related professional services. Resolution number 2026.16, a resolution approving Choice One Engineering for professional services relating to public sidewalk assessment. Again, first readings only. Moving to ordinances, we have a third reading, ordinance number 2026.08, an ordinance approving the final plat for Kittner Crossing, Section 2. So we're looking for a motion.
I'm going to make a motion to table ordinance number 2026.08.
I'll go ahead and second that. So we have a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
No.
Mrs. Crawford?
No.
Mr. Ghost?
Yes.
3 yeas, motion approved.
Okay, ordinance number 2026.09, an ordinance awarding the contract for Little Walnut Creek Interceptor Phase 2A to Dirt Dog Excavating LLC of Ashland, Ohio. Again, this is a third reading. Daryl, is this?
Yeah, we can hold this one and we'll talk about it at the services meeting.
Okay, so again, perhaps a motion to table for further discussion at the Services Committee.
I'll make a motion to table.
Okay. Second? Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Ghost?
Yes.
5 yeas, motion approved.
Okay, no second readings. First reading, ordinance number 2026.12, an ordinance authorizing execution of a development agreement between Romanelli Schrock Road Investments LLC and the City of Sunbury. Again, that is just a first reading only. Ordinance number 2026.13, an ordinance awarding the contract for the 2026 City of Sunbury Street Improvements Project to Decker Construction Company. And ordinance number 2026.14, first reading, an ordinance granting a franchise to Ohio Power Company, its successors, and assigns the right to acquire, construct, maintain, and operate in the streets, thoroughfares, alleys, bridges, and public places of the City of Sunbury, Ohio, and its successors, lines for the distribution of electric electric energy to the city of Sunbury and the inhabitants thereof for light, heat, power, and other purposes, and the transmission of the same within, through, or across the city of Sunbury, Ohio, all as further set forth hereunder. Okay, that was a lot. First reading only. Now that takes us to new and unfinished business. I think that takes us back to Smoking Hot Wing and Music Fest, October 3rd, 2026 at Freedom Park. We heard the ask. And
So just to be clear, they're
Yeah.
asking because our parks are closed at dusk, and this event will go on until 9 o'clock, so they're asking for that. They also have submitted an event permit. In the event permit, it also has a portion in there that they're going to be getting a liquor license, and they will be serving alcohol at this event. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear too. And also, I mentioned this in the Parks meeting, but so the process, as you know, but for the public, the process for an event like this is they first come to our Events and Commemoration Committee, then they come to our Parks Committee, and then they come to council if it needs to go that high. For something like this, it would. And along the process, they're working with our police department and our fire department. But I did just want to say, I said this in Parks too, that I personally reached out to Chief Kovach and I personally reached out to DC Wade today to make sure that they were okay with it and they were fine with it. They're working with the group and they didn't see any problems that we shouldn't be able to pass this. So I just wanted to let you guys know I did reach out to both of them individually.
Thank you. That's going to actually be one of my questions, if
Yep.
there's any safety concerns. So, okay. Any
So
other-
I'll make the
yeah,
motion
okay.
to approve.
Motion to approve the Smoking
Smoking Hot
Hot Wing Music Fest for
It's October 3rd.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capel. Any discussion, further discussion on this? Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gose?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
5 yeas, motion approved.
Okay. Any other topics for discussion before we have our next regular meeting actually next week, May 6th at 7:30 p.m.?
So I've said this a couple times, but I'm going to be out of town on the 6th.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And this is?
Yeah, so I just want to remind, we're going to move back to the council chambers for this meeting, again, so that the council and the residents will have an opportunity to observe the caravan.
Okay, thank you. There's no other questions or comments. Go ahead and make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Cooper. Roll call.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gose?
Yes.
5 yeas, motion approved. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.